Hello, and good evening. I'm deciding right now to listen a bit to this very melodic tune that Mr. buckydurddle himself has composed. I hope you can hear me, Leonis, and that this sound check does not only that does mean that you hear me very well. Thank you, Krim. So I'm fading out this very wonderful piece. Yes, it should be, because my voice is not important, and this background music was the fantastic theme song that Mr. buckydurddle himself has composed, especially for this radio. No, it's not a radio show. It's a social audio broadcasting. That's not true. It's a video broadcasting as well. It's something that we broadcast to you. Yeah, it's the ESPN. It's not international. It's interactive. It's the S stands for social, interactive social broadcasting network. I'm getting to it. It's a slow process because if you watch the video, you can see that my hair is already quite gray. I still have hair, but it's turned gray. So that does mean that I reached some certain point of age where I'm not able to learn as fast as you all can. But I'm trying. I'm really trying my best. So this music was composed by Mr. buckydurddle. Thanks a lot for that. He cannot be with us right now because he's in the other room in Live on Air 2 trying to get Block Trades, who will be one of our guests in tonight's show, trying to get everything set up from a technical point of view so that Block Trades is able to be interviewed live with us on the show. As a second guest, you can already see he's already in here in the Live on Air room. We got Tenza, a regular Utopian contributor. From Tenza Programming, I think it was his handle right now on Steam. He's doing a lot to educate people, to try to get people the knowledge to be able to program themselves, to code. He's doing a lot of efforts to do that, like video tutorials and I don't know what. He will talk about this later, and we will talk with Block Trades first, I think, if this is not completely changing the schedule that we are currently having. We will talk with Block Trades first, and with Tenza in the second half of the show. There has been a lot of hassle going on since our dear Captain Ned has yesterday evening, I think it was yesterday evening. Well, time zoning is a bit of a problem for me. Right now it's evening here in Germany. So it was yesterday, I think, that he posted that he's going to lay off 70% of Steam Meetings employees, basically. There is even CoinDesk already took up this article that Ned has obviously published yesterday, and that's a damn good question, Leonis. I seriously have no clue how many people that is. They're talking about millions of costs in here. So I've read through a lot of the comments underneath the post that Ned did. I only say a lot because there are so many of them that I did not have the patience to read all of them. On the other hand side, they spoke about, at least in one of those comments, Ned spoke about this massing up to millions of costs, not only in human capital but also in technological debt, because a full node is quite hard. As we all know, a full node is quite hard to run with all that hard RAM requirements that they are currently having, because they made this blockchain completely depending on being totally in an in-RAM blockchain, let's put it like this, in a full node. So for sure this is high prices that they are paying, on the other hand side, I cannot get my head around those numbers. It's seriously, from my point of view, something that I do not understand. So this is something that we can talk about later with both tensor and block rates from different angles. I'm quite happy that this was the show where we are having one of the maintainers of one of the biggest exchanges that we're having in the Steam universe. So I think this is meant to be that way. For sure we got Ilana as well. She made it in time. She was 2 minutes early, I dare say.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't early. I'm never early. That's not in my nature.
True, it's not, but I think you were really 2 minutes early. So like 2 minutes before the show, which does not mean that you're 2 minutes early, but you're 2 minutes before the show starts.
Okay, I can leave and come back.
No, don't. I'm really happy about that. Therefore, I tell, because I'm really happy. And Bucky as well, we made a short dance of victory that you have been here, but only a short one. And for sure, Bucky is around here as well. He's the good host of the show, the producer. Well, I'm the host, the good ghost, I wanted to say. He's doing everything in the background to let this sound like a halfway professional program, which we are really trying to deliver, believe it or not. We do our best. By the way, if you want to see us live, or at least me, because I still didn't manage to get the other video feeds integrated, you have the possibility to, I think we are broadcasting this on Vim. Do we? Globo? Do we? And I think that we are also broadcasting this on Twitch as well. Globo, do we? Question mark. So there is nothing much to see. Basically, you can see a lot of my gray hair that is way too long currently, because I did not make it to the hairdresser in the latest, I don't know, weeks, month, or whatever.
At some point, we're going to add a video of me, and then we can just compare hair colors and lengths, and I will always win, regardless.
Not if we say who has the most grayest hair. But apart from that, you will win. I agree.
I've got the pink hair. Come on, you can't beat pink.
I think I have you beat on hair, both in length and gray. I don't know, Tenzor. That's well, they are not too long, you know. They're just not in style. I'm looking like there is a German word, Waldschrat. I seriously don't have a clue how I should translate this. It's the guy out of the woods, you know. I cannot. Net's hair is just like Ilana's in color. Is Net's in, I don't know, in fluffiness unbeadable. So Ilana, you have been close. A meme.
Yeah, I really looked close to see if it's a wig. I'm not kidding. I just looked at his hair follicles to see if it's like a wig, a really good wig. No, it's all real.
Can you give us this moment again where you have seen that? Because this picture that you Net, it wasn't allowing you to make a selfie, I think.
So I have this really horrible photo with him.
Can you give this to us, please? Because I had a strange day, and this would really light up my day a bit.
Oh, I had a very, very strange day as well, and that will just make me cringe right now. But okay, I love you so much. I will do this for you.
That's amazing, because that picture is also amazing.
Yeah, and the conversation went like this. Both of us don't need to wear tags because, people recognize us by the hair. He was somewhat amused, at which point I was like, so, what do you condition your hair with?
That picture is so amazing.
Yeah, and then he just looked at me and rolled his eyes and said, baby tears. And I guess it's just like one of his regular answers about what he conditions his hair with. But yeah, that hairline is real. That hair is totally real. And
that face of yours is totally real as well.
The early arriving, is that the part where I thought I was seeing you double rivals? Because I was so completely out of it when I arrived. The next day I was a little more alive. But
for sure. Funny pictures of the Krakow event can always be posted. We will put them even on the wall somewhere. So it's not a problem. This is better than posting your feed, which has happened, I don't know, a few months back. So I'm very much more into posting pictures of Krakow. Even you licking walls, rivals, or something like that.
Yes, the wall licking I missed. I was just on the flight back. Like, some smart people told me, come a day before or 2 days before, leave a day or two after. I'm gonna just like remember that for the rest of my life because Krakow was so exhausting and so, yeah, I'm still not over it. Still not over it. Well, at least I didn't get sick after, like many wonderful
Ned
people
leave,
did.
by the way, on Fridays?
I'm sorry?
I asked if Ned left on Friday in Krakow.
I have no idea when Ned left. The only time he was at the first day I saw him before our presentation, before Utopian presentation, and then he came to the bowling, and he kind of came, looked around, said hi, and just left. And I was actually in the parking lot when he left, like getting, smoking and drinking downstairs with the gang, and he just left via Uber. And I was like, why is he leaving now? Like, we don't even know who the finalists are. He was like, but I blamed jet lag and just generally feeling a little overwhelmed and disconnected because that's I guess how he felt, because it's a very, very overwhelming event and there were so many people. So I don't know if he was at the closing event. I have no idea. Guys, did you see him at the closing event? Was he licking any walls?
I don't have a clue. I was not there and I didn't take a look.
Yeah, I'm asking the audience, especially like people with like awesome pictures, like Rivals, who has awesome pictures. Yeah, that's pretty much what went on there. There was lots of drinking, rolling of balls. He came, he saw, and he kind of left.
Interesting. Very interesting. I seriously have no clue, Yanni Brockstein. The question was, can the witnesses and Steemit users buy Steemit from Steemit Inc.? What exactly should we buy?
He came, he saw, he decided not to conquer. He came, he saw, he flagged. According to Block Trades, he already traveled to another stop, which seems like, like a thing he's doing. Yeah.
So there is not much to buy. If we're going down that road that Yanni Brockstein has just asked, can the witnesses and Steemit users buy Steemit from Steemit Inc.? What exactly? Because the blockchain itself is something that is open source, so it's not going to vanish.
Control of the repositories, perhaps? Do you think that's a thing they would sell? Having control of the repositories, which, by the way, brings me to a really interesting conversation that Nothing is Magic started with me a couple of days ago about repositories and repository management.
Well, that's an interesting point. I'm just wanted to follow up, and maybe we're going to talk about this. I think that's exactly what I wanted to say. Blocktrade says it quite easily. The code's open source, so there is nothing that we need to buy, basically, or that anyone needs to buy. And we already have seen that it is possible to come up with a new blockchain based upon the code, or loosely based upon the code that it is in that Git repo, which Whale Shares has already proven to be possible. So yeah, that's exactly the point that Tensor brings up. I want to talk with you later, directly live on air, Blocktrades and Tensor, about exactly that thing. Did consensus maybe needs to be changed because Steemit Inc. is still holding a damn lot of stake, so they have a very high influence on what's going to happen and who is going to do what. And the other hand side is what Blocktrades is saying. That's exactly what Ned has been aiming at as well in his comment. They are currently having a damn whole bad time of running those servers for the full nodes. That's seriously too complicated and much too much inefficient. So yeah, so there is not much to buy actually right now, as far as I can see. On the other hand side, it's not as easy accomplished to think about well, it's easy accomplished to think about a world where Steam Inc. is maybe gone or is not holding that much power. On the other hand side, that's not as easy accomplished as to be thought of. Oh, Ilana, you're gone. You're muted. Because what we are going to talk about as well is news apart from the demission of 70% of people from Steam Inc. headquarters. And for sure, Ilana is currently searching around.
Unfortunately, I haven't prepared the news today because I had a very, very crazy day, as they say, at work. So I have not yet prepared the news. I will have them later. I promise. I can divide attention. So I will prepare the news a bit later. But I think that what Nothing is Magic is linking to is definitely worth discussing. There is a problem in the open source world, and there are symptoms of this problem. And this problem is that the way Gits work in the terms of merging Gits. If Git merges worked a little bit more like witnesses, then a lot of bugs and issues and exploits would be avoided. And there was a specific one with Ethereum, which I haven't unfortunately had the chance to investigate enough, which is why I said I'll have lots of news and commentary for you later, because I only got to have a short look at that.
Yeah, very good. I just saw the repo that Nothing is Magic, or Nothing as Magic, has posted. I didn't have the chance to read all of it because somehow I need to concentrate on talking straight, and I cannot read things. Well, I cannot do two things at once, basically, which is a serious flaw, I know. But I will do this for sure. It's looking quite funny. What has Clojure, or however this programming language is pronounced, to do with it? Is he the inventor? Ah, okay, understood. Because I have a book lying around here somewhere, because I bought this Humble book bundle, Code Me Some a while back on Humble Bundle, and there was a book about Clojure, or however this language is called in, but I didn't open it yet, so I still don't have a clue. So coming back, yeah, well, if you say so, Tenza, you have a lot of impressive experience about learning programming languages, or teaching to learn programming languages. Is there something in your pocket for Clojure as well, or is this not a topic you have covered in one of your video tutorials yet? Oh, very good. Then I have a starting point. Yeah, thanks a lot for all the audience that has shown up already 18 minutes into the show. I just will repeat shortly what we're going to do, and then we're starting directly. We're changing a bit the things because, like said by Ilana herself, she did not look up too many news items. And on the other hand side, we have a lot of...
Sorry.
No, good. Don't worry. We have a lot of news items to discuss that we are basically... that happened just in our front lawn. So we don't need to go far today. And we have block trades here and Tenza, two very able people taking this topic from two different angles completely. I don't know how technical block trades is, maybe super technical, but for sure is running one of the most renowned exchanges here in the Steam universe, and not only in the Steam universe. And Tenza is very, very technical, I know, and for sure he can take the whole Steam approach. I'm good with super technical. That's good. So we can have both sides. And we already talked about a bit what Net has opened and shared with the world yesterday in one of his postings. So for sure, this is something that we as a community of Steam need to think about, because obviously now all this bearish market that is happening around cryptocurrencies currently have found their way into Steam Inc. headquarters, and they need to get rid of some costs, which basically means they're going to drop 70% of their stuff. Did they write anything about dropping technology-wise things as well? So, I don't know, shutting down 1 or 2 full nodes? I don't know, do we have 1 or 2 at all? I think they did not, but I don't know exactly, because that would be cost as well. Okay, so block trades. You around? You have been typing, so you should be super around. Bucky, you fixed the microphone issues that we had prior to the show. Everything's cool with block trades?
Yeah, everything's fine now.
Yeah, it is. Perfect. So thanks a lot for just reacting, because Bucky is obviously with his mind somewhere, or really physically somewhere else. I seriously don't have a clue. Thanks a lot. And hi, Block Trades. How you doing? How was your day?
Busy.
How can I imagine a day of a maintainer of one of the biggest exchanges here in Steam Universe?
Believe it or not, a lot of my day is doing other stuff besides maintaining the block trade, the website.
Understood.
So, what is my day varies a lot. There's no real common day, I guess. I do spend a little bit of time sort of looking over how the site's doing in terms of business and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of the times, most of the time I spend running managing our development teams. So we've got several different teams working on different projects. So the first thing when I do when I wake up in the morning is I check on one of our largest teams is actually in Poland. So I'll wake up and check on what they've done and if they've got questions for me. And then, so the first couple hours of the day is really, and I get up a little late anyways, I get up about 9:30. So I spent answering questions from them usually. And then after that takes a couple hours. And then after that, move on to handling stuff here in the US.
So you're US based?
Well, so
more or less.
Block Trades itself is Caymans.
Yeah, sure it is.
Then we have a bunch of different companies who consult with Block Trades to do like all the work. So Block Trades doesn't have direct employees. So one of the companies is here in the U.S. It's a company I own, and then there's another company, and there's other companies other places. One of our contractors is in India, so we're spread out.
So you're quite super international, are you?
Yeah, you could say
decentralized.
That.
I like calling it decentralized. Like Utopian is a super decentralized organization.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, Ilana, but in former times we called that international, you know, or global even.
Yeah, but this is the new paradigm.
Yeah, yeah, totally right. Yeah, diversity.
Buzzwords.
Yeah, everything and decentralized and everything. Yeah, we need to have more buzzwords. So are you said you have a lot of projects currently running. Do you want to talk about a specific project, or should we really talk about Steam as a block chain and that currently obviously needs help?
It's up to you. We could probably talk about both if we got the time.
Whatever you want. I see that you're obviously having...
Maybe we should cover the Steam first, because I guess that's the one on most people's mind at the moment. I think everybody would be just like waiting for the rest of the side of the talk.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, when are they going to talk about Steam? What's happening on Steam? Yeah. So how much more do you know, or do you know just what Ned said as well?
Well, I know more. The question is what I can say more.
Exactly. I don't want to get you into troubles.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I can probably say some general things without getting into any trouble. Steam obviously had obviously a lot of people employed, and that made a lot more sense when Steam was a lot higher. They had a lot more runway on the plate. At this point, it also meant that they were kind of, I mean, I'm happy, of course, all the people that lost their jobs. That really sucks. But I feel like it's at least caused Steam it to refocus on things that I think were the most important things, which really lowering the cost of running the blockchain. That's been a big issue for me for a long time. And I've really been hammering on them on this issue for literally years now at this point. So I'm glad to see that they're moving back to addressing that point where they do all the other things they want to do.
If I'm not totally mistaken, Ned said something about taking the technical debt back from 160 gigabytes of RAM down to 0. I remember some kind of that.
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's a lot of ideas floating around there over at Steam on how to do some of that. But I know one of them that we've been pushing for a long time. When I say we, I mean my team. It was the RocksDB, which is basically a way of getting a lot of the data the state data out of memory and onto disk, which is super cheap compared to memory. There was an attempt to do this a long time ago, very early on in Steam, called Chainbase, but it was a really flawed attempt. It was terrible implementation. The idea was solid, but the implementation of it was pretty terrible. So RocksDB is a much more solid solution. Really, I think, by cutting down on memory, that means the cost of the servers will go down dramatically. Right now, running a server that's over 128 gigabytes is very expensive because you basically got to you're buying like server class hardware just to run that kind of memory. I mean, just to give you an example, when we run a dedicated server, we always run 28 gigabytes. We don't run anything higher because anything higher just the cost goes up quite a bit.
Yeah, and most of the times you don't need that massive amount of RAM for anything.
And when we run a 120 gigabyte server, we're running a bunch of stuff on it usually.
Exactly, for sure you do, because normally.
But we're running a Steam no.
Yeah, it's quite hard to do.
Eating up, even running our Exchange server, it's eating up maybe 32 or I think it's running 64 gigabytes now just for that. So half of one of our 28 gigabyte servers is just running that. Now we're not running a full API server, which is even larger, and that's what Steam is running right now. So solving this problem will not only reduce the cost for Steam, but it's going to reduce costs for everybody. And one of the most important people it'll reduce costs and headaches for will be exchanges. So that means more exchanges can easier support Steam on the exchange, which would be a great thing, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So, it's not that I would want your competition to grow. On the other hand side, growing competition also means growing interest, growing.
Yeah. So I mean, we rely on exchanges to a certain extent. So, I don't view them as competition per se. We offer a slightly different service and a different value proposition. Yes. So getting back to the Steam thing though. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are out, and I kind of know who's still there. And in my opinion, they kept the people that they really needed to solve these problems. So people that were necessary for, solving the optimization problems are all the blockchain guys that are there. Some of the key support people, the server side, the infrastructure, whatever you want to call it, are there. So, and they also kept one of the key front end guys as well that I've always had a lot of respect for. So that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people that dropped out were newer people. They've been ramping up their hiring quite aggressively when things were looking a lot better. And so I don't see I mean, of course there'll be impacts, there's no doubt, but I don't think it'll be the disaster that maybe some people.
No, I don't think we should paint the picture too black, because in everything there is a chance, and if it's only to refocus of what should have been done, I don't know, years ago, because this RAM problem that we have been talking about prior to that, that's not new. This is something that we know.
It's been around for a long time, and it's just been kind of fun. It was just kind of because Steam could afford to just pay lots of money for servers, and they just weren't, so they weren't. They solved the one problem, didn't solve like an immediate problem that was going to kill the chain regardless of the servers. So they implemented a first level RocksDB solution, which took off some of the load. But yeah, I think this will really refocus them to solving these problems. These are the problems that really allow us to get out of being so centralized in the whole.
Yeah, that's true. Because if I just had this, I don't know with whom, but it was a few shows ago. I had a quite intense discussion, I think, with Marky Mark and a lot of other people about the real decentralization that has not yet taken place so much, because there is one server hoster where almost every witness is buying his server or is renting his server from, which in the end means that we're running a decentralized blockchain in maybe 1 or 2 data centers. So that's also funny.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of running on, I think, Privix, which is it seems like a pretty good service. We don't run our servers there, just if it helps any.
Yeah, yeah, it helps a bit. At least it decentralizes a bit, you know.
And I know some other people some other top 20 that don't. So.
Yeah. It's not completely centralized. This is not what I wanted to say, but there is one server host. I don't know. It's Hetzner or whatever. I don't care.
Oh, Hetzner is also not. Yeah,
that is quite cheap. Let's put it like this, and you can make. Since you have to, and now we're coming back to the initial problem, because all is connected in the end, because you have to buy real high-class hardware and a lot of RAMs. You need to buy cheap, because in the end you won't make anything with it if you're not coming quite high in the witness rank. So yeah, for sure that would also make the world of a witness easier. Maybe they would run full nodes then in the end as well.
Yeah, it's an investment. It's an investment. It's an investment. Buying your own hardware means I'm going to be running this for another year, another 2 years. Using cloud services is indeed not true decentralization. I pasted a link to a post by a utopian named Andrew Hamilton. He was also at Steamfest, and he's awesome. And he actually wrote about this earlier today, because he thinks that the best approach is own hardware, because if it's possible to kind of decentralize as much as possible this workload, it's right. Steam Inc. should not be paying our server bills, should not be taking on all of these costs.
Yeah, and the real solution to that is to bring down the cost to where it's reasonable.
Yeah. Definitely. Because
the other side of this is more than just bringing down server costs. This is also allowing us to scale up in terms of users and everything else.
Yeah, definitely. So it was not a complete surprise for you that this has happened. I just read between the lines.
I will say I didn't coming until like the day before, so I didn't have a lot of advance warning on it. But at the same time, I could read the market and see where things are going. So, of course, I knew it was possible.
Yeah, sure. Market has been going down a lot.
And I wasn't sure if they weren't grabbing up too many people. Well, some of this is philosophy. I tend to really tight shop in terms of the type of people I have working for me, and we're a super technical organization at Block Trades. I mean, I'd say 95% of our people are all programmers or IT type people. So
yeah. So yeah, let's just hope that Net has done the right thing. I still have hope. It's nothing that we should lose directly just because hard times are approaching. I think
Steam is going to come out stronger.
Yeah, definitely.
Steam
so
as well.
it's a chance for at least to focus on the real important things, and a chance is always something that has to be taken. I know, but at least firing people and setting people out on the streets is something that is not happening too easy. Yeah, what are you thinking out there? What are you wanting to ask Block Trades? I just read something from Transistor. Hi, Transistor. Do you think Steemit should focus on improving curation incentives before SMT?
Yeah, I do, and I guess to me, it's a part of that is I just think fixing curation is a lot easier. I think curation is something that can be done in a short period of time, so it's not a lot of work, in my opinion. I mean, we can't know that it'll work perfectly, but the experiment itself to make changes is not difficult. You try it, and the cost involved is very low.
No, that's true. I think that could be accomplished quite easy and much easier than bringing the SMTs live.
Somebody asked any update on our PO.
Yeah.
We're still moving forward with it. Still haven't had much time to market it. We also have a little bit of software to write as well. We're finishing up contracts that we have on our books as fast as possible to free up some guys to do that. And I guess coming on a show like this is the early part of marketing for the IPO, if there's such a thing.
How are you planning that? Is this something that is going to happen right on crypto space, or is it going to happen in the real world?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a real IPO. It's not an IC, but so that means a couple things. First of all, for the U.S., because of the securities laws, we allow U.S. people to directly participate, unfortunately. So we'll do it mostly overseas. For the U.S., we'll probably do what's called a Reg D later, which is how we allow investors over a certain accreditation level. Usually it means 1 million net worth to invest, but that'll be done later on. First thing is to run a crypto IPO, and in that one we'll do what's called a reverse auction, which will allow the price to be set by the buyers. Because I don't want to try to set a price; it's very difficult in this market. So we'll leave it up to the investors to basically decide what they're willing to pay for. It'll be a competition of a sort. So that's why there's a little bit of software involved. But we know what it is. It's not difficult. So we'll basically lock in that software into our existing block trade site, and you'll basically just be able to buy shares straight off our site. And it'll require KYC again because of the thing, and also just because even Caymans, we have to keep track of our shareholders, so we'll have to know who the shareholders are. So just things like that. But most of that part of the software is already.
Do you have any insights into Steemit Inc. if they're really trying now to refocus on whatever SMTs or bringing down the costs of the server side hosting?
So I see the focus as being the immediate focus first to lower their costs, and I think after that they're planning on going back to SMTs.
Yeah, so most likely, Ned didn't say it super explicitly, but most likely laying off 70% of a team has also implications on not going live in April.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that
he said so implicitly in the comments.
Oh. Yeah, he said that there'll be some kind of delay. He hadn't said, he doesn't know what it is. Now, I mean, what a lot of these people were managers, at least on the programming side, that got let go. So the key programmers are all still. I can say that for sure. I know those guys, and they're all still working. But they are been refocused. They were doing SMTs. Now I guess I see they're going to go into design phase to do the reduction of the memory requirements and things like that.
Yeah, which would make definitely a lot of sense. The Werewolf asks, did the layoff have consequences toward the Destiny team, since it's not part of Steemit Inc.?
That's a harder question for me to answer because I don't personally know any of the members of the Destiny team. That was a later project, and I've had less direct involvement late. But I would certainly guess it's going to have a delay, if nothing else, on the Destiny. That seems pretty clear.
And Love and Freedom. I think you're asking block trades as well, because I don't have any problems for my tax in 2017 and 18. So I think she's asking you, Love and Freedom, how's the US tax laws affected you? You had problems in 17. Okay.
Yeah, so it's very complicated if you company as a U.S. citizen, which is not something I knew when I went into opening up a foreign company. We originally opened up the foreign company just because crypto laws, this was back in 2015, crypto laws were very uncertain at that point in time. So we didn't know what the regulations were, so it just seemed simpler to start in a place where, there wasn't all this uncertainty going and all the basically FUD that was being generated in the time. It's a lot clearer now in the U.S., and, at this point we could have started in the U.S., but we're not. We're somewhere else. And anyways, it does mean some complexities for my taxes. And most interestingly, it means right now, a high stake owner in a foreign company, I have to file these really complicated tax forms. That's actually one of the reasons I'm doing the IPO, is to lower my ownership down to the point where I can avoid taking a house in my life.
That's an interesting motivation.
Yeah, I mean, you only live once. You're spending, months and months working on your taxes. Just you really decide it's just not worth it.
Yeah, that can be really a pain in the ass.
So it means, for me, it means I have to basically lower my personal percentage of ownership to about just under 10%. So, I mean, there's things we can do. We'll spin out into a bunch of companies eventually and own 10% of a bunch of other companies. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, true. Definitely. So, yeah, quite some interesting questions we already have received. If anything comes up to your mind that you ever wanted to ask Block Trades about the current state of affairs or future state of affairs, whatever, we have some kind of glass bubble we are looking into, so we can maybe even tell the future. No, Love and Freedom, is everything cool? Hard questions, tax questions. This is the hardest one.
We spent literally months. I mean, and if you want to talk man months, probably more like a year just writing the software to compute our taxes.
That's amazing. Well,
yeah, it amazes me.
Yeah, amazing, but on the other hand side, it's also somehow creepy. Are the US tax laws really so bad when it comes to crypto? Because over here in Germany,
well, what it basically means is maybe they're not so bad, but it's like this. In Caymans, there's no taxes. So
that's
if
easy.
I was a U.S. citizen, if I lived somewhere else, I would not have to compute the taxes for block trade. But because I'm a U.S. citizen, I have to compute the taxes for block trades, and then a lot of that flows through to me. So we had to write all this software to compute all the taxes, and compute them in the way that doesn't show us having, unreasonably high taxes. So we can't even do very simple calculations of our profit. We have to do more complicated ones, take into account capital gains, short-term, long-term, lot matching, and then there's just things like making sure that this was a capital gain and not an income or expense. I mean, it's the neat thing is it's all automated now. So we developed this really cool system, and I don't have to have an accountant analyze it. We just run the software over, and it looks at all the trades and all the transfers in and out of our wallet, and it figures out which ones are trades. It figures out which ones we're paying so much money, and it can calculate basically our, what normally you'd have to hire an accountant to put into QuickBooks or something like that. And we've done that in our U.S. companies, and now because we're using crypto wallets instead of using traditional banks and credit cards and things like that. Block Trades runs totally in crypto pretty much, so the whole thing can be calculated just using pulling the data out of the wallets. That
really sounds like a cool invention you did there. These are the best, by the way. Things that you do because you want to get rid of it, things that you do.
Yeah, you don't want to be wasting your time.
Yes.
When we had literally millions of transactions, there was very little solution other than paying someone a huge amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
It also had another thing. It allowed us to catch when exchanges made mistakes, which happens. We called them. I mean, we probably paid the actual software costs just in the mistakes we caught, where an exchange failed to send us, a large sum of money at some point. And we did so many deposits and withdrawals, we just didn't notice them manually. It got too difficult to detect that they forgot to send us money or they failed for some reason. So, I mean, we had literally, I don't know, $400,000 or $500,000 worth of money that just didn't arrive in our accounts. Found it out, contacted them. Hey, took a year or so wrong in some cases, but it finally arrived.
Okay, understood. Interesting question by Love and Freedom and Main Event, both hinting at the same thing. Is it possible for us humble users to utilize that software, or is it going to be open source?
It's potentially possible, but it's not something we can do often easily, because it is customized for us right now. So it's more of a solution for someone who's running a business than it couldn't be used by an individual, though. If somebody had a lot of trades, was a really serious crypto trader, I'd say it might be worth for somebody like that to set up. But we haven't deployed it as a solution, for individuals yet. It's on our list. We've got so many plans.
More plans
there as a
time.
plan. It's certainly something we want to do at some point. Probably will roll it out to business and do it for.
And then Diego came around with a question. Well, it's not a real question, Diego. It's something like we should talk about maybe. He said, I'm curious of the reasons behind deciding to communicate the cut of the team to save the costs, instead than cutting the costs first and then communicate that. To me, looked like a semi-suicidal move.
I'm guessing the idea there was that there was no way they're going to hide it. You lay off that many people are going to talk, so why bother to try to hide it?
Yeah. One possible.
So get out in front and announce what you're doing, and I mean, it's also a matter of fairness. I think there's a lot of people depending on what Steam is doing in their own business plans, and if you keep that kind of stuff secret, it's really not fair to them.
Interesting question by Yanni Prokshan. I don't know if you know that. What price does Steam need to be for Steam to have not needed to lay off 70%? I don't know. Higher.
No, that's hard for me to answer. I guess whatever it was a couple weeks ago might have been enough.
Yeah, at least
because there wasn't any talk of this a couple.
Yeah, most likely something beyond $1. How has this bearish market fared for you with all the other exchange business that you're doing currently, block trades? Is it all going down bearish?
Operationally, we've been doing quite well still. So I haven't really seen any impact on our operational side in terms of profit there. But of course, we have substantial crypto holdings, as I'm sure most people know. And of course, just like everybody else, we've been impacted by that. I think we've probably done better than the general market, but yeah, it's definitely had a serious impact on our crypto investments.
Yeah, for sure, on these investments for sure. But so trades from a volume point of view has not significantly slowed down, or how is things moving?
Business has still been quite good. I can't say I've been quite happy with the way it's sustained.
That's impressive. I thought that this long bearish market that we're currently into was maybe.
Well, I guess it depends on where you're looking at, what timeline you're looking at too. I will say that certainly at the beginning of the year we're doing much better. But I guess I'm talking about in the past few months. I'm looking at the past few months. We've had a pretty sustained bear market over the past month or so, and that hasn't really this.
That gives back hope a bit into the whole crypto market, because a lot of talks has been going around out there about how futile an attempt is to make any serious investment into cryptos. Since we are all here, I think we don't believe in that, but it's the masses that in the end are making the difference. But it's nice to hear that the volume hasn't slowed down significantly. I don't know what Fabian is hinting at by asking why there is no need for KYC.
I can answer that though. Basically, there's a very specific exception that's been FinCEN basically called out, which is if you're not doing custodial services, which means holding customer funds, and you're not like matching up third parties when you're doing trades, you're not a crypto exchange. So as someone else mentioned later, Shapeshift is an example of that. We're not considered and that's actually not the real issue is whether you're considered if you need a money transmission license, and basically by not holding funds and not matching up customers' orders like an exchange, we don't fall under that law or that regulation. I guess not really a law per se, more determination by FinCEN. FinCEN is the financial authority in the U.S. for like money transmission and things like that.
Okay, understood.
And then the other kind of issue that comes up is different organization, the SEC, and that's for securities. So the issue there is we have to be sure that any of the things we offer right now, if we offer to the U.S. people, we have to be comfortable that they're not securities, which all the stuff that we handle right now are. And so if we want to handle things that might be security by the U.S., the way we're going to handle that is we'll basically allow people to identify that they're not a U.S. citizen, and then, do some basic level KYC there, and U.S. citizens buy those types of coins.
Understood. Interesting. I didn't know that, because
that's
obviously that's quite deep into U.S. law, no?
Yeah, that's really been the big holdup for supporting a lot of coins. Actually, anything else is just so many of them we have to be concerned would be considered a security by the SEC based on what they've said. So, and doing. Somebody asked about how does ETH work? That isn't a security, but as an ICO. That's a kind of strange one. You'd have to read the determination that basically came out by the SEC, but there's no real firm determination. But they basically kind of implicitly said it. They said that they viewed it as security when it first issued because it did do an ICO, but at this point they're saying it's decentralized and central authority, so it's no longer security at this point.
Interesting. You're quite super deep into the topic. I always thought that I might understand a lot about the market and cryptocurrencies in general, but obviously you do know much more, which is making it...
Well, I don't want to go to jail, so...
really yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Safety first, safety first.
Part of our team is a lawyer.
Understood. Graylin also asked quite an interesting question. I don't know if we can answer that. How much more expensive is it to operate a Steam DPoS type currency versus traditional proof of work?
Technically, there's no reason for cost anymore. The reason it's costing a lot more right now is mainly the huge transactions that Steam's got and the memory state requirements. So they're problems that can be addressed and solved. Technically speaking, there shouldn't be a reason Steam can't be just as cheap as any other coin to operate.
Definitely. Yanni Brockstein, is Steam considered an asset? A good question. I don't have a clue, but you may have one.
It's a commodity. If that's what you mean. Okay. So now there's a third regulatory committee. So we're talking about two in the U.S. The third one is called the Commodities CFTC. I forget exactly what it stands for, but they're in control of commodities. Now, what that means is they don't actually regulate commodities. What they regulate is something like derivatives. So in other words, like leveraged versions of commodities or like futures and things like that. So on spot commodities, which is what buying and selling Steam is, they don't regulate that. So they don't care about that. What they would care about is if you set up a market where you could buy an option to buy a certain amount of Steam and a certain amount of price in the future. And if you started doing that, then the CFTC would be breathing down your neck to make sure you're doing all the things that they want you to do. Fortunately, I don't know of anyone doing anything like that for Steam, so it's not really come up as an issue. It has come up for Bitcoin, and they went after Bitfinex for doing that because they allow leveraged Bitcoin trading.
Yeah. True. The Real Wolf has asked quite an interesting question for all of us out there as well, directed to you. Do you expect the bear market to last multiple years in total, and when did it start for you, Block Trades?
Well, I don't. I've seen multiple bear markets already. They've come and gone. If anybody's looked at the long-term chart of Bitcoin, they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't get in at the beginning, but I certainly was in at 2013 and watched Steam go up to 1,300, then drop down to about 300 something, but might have hit a little lower at some point, and climb up again, and then watch it do that super monster climb near the beginning of this year to I'll just call it really 17,000. We saw some 21,000s out there, but that was kind of on free market special exception. We get about 17K for it, and now drop back again from that. So I guess I'd say the current bear market started after the super huge market that went to 70K. So yeah, it's a bear because it just was such a hyper. I mean, going to 70K so fast was just pretty crazy.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It shouldn't shock anybody that it went down again. So obviously we've been kind of, if you look at it that way, we've been in a sustained bear market, I guess, beginning of the year, or close to the beginning of the year. We kind of leveled off for 6K, it seems like 6-7K range, and then then we just went into this second downturn, and we are around 4K now or so, I guess.
Yeah, 4.3 right now.
I don't predict markets. Extremely difficult, especially not this kind of market. So I can't really give anybody insight on that. If I could, I'm sure the lawyers would tell me I shouldn't. Because we're operating an exchange, and therefore
don't do that.
If we weren't doing an exchange, I could probably give you opinions on a lot of things. But as it is, if we start doing recommendations while operating, what we're classified as not as an exchange, a dealer. We're like dealing in these commodities.
No, don't do that. It's I came to like you in the last few minutes, so don't go to jail. It's all good.
Thanks for that.
Charvi has said, did he already talk about fiat to Steam options? I think with he meant you. No, we didn't yet.
Probably so. So I can we're working on that, and I can tell you what's involved. So it just depends on the area, the region. The different laws vary in different regions. So the U.S. is particularly difficult because essentially to buy or sell crypto as a dealer in the U.S., you have to have what's called a money transmitter license. And to get a money transmitter license, it's a state-by-state thing. So that's kind of a long-term thing for us. We plan on going after those licenses, but they're going to take time. So in the meantime, what we're looking at is other markets. We got our first money transmitter license a little while back. We haven't actually used it yet, and that's in Canada, just kind of to get through the basic process and see how it works. But the next one we're working on now is pretty big. It's basically one that'll allow us to be a money transmitter for all of Europe. So that's pretty big for us. And with that turning on, then we can look at, and it's not actually us, I should say. It's a different company that'll be doing that. And basically, that company will be like a partner for us that will help us to get in and out of fiat.
Oh yeah, I knew that this question was about to come now. Bucky said, because he's based in Newfoundland, what does that mean for what you can do in Canada?
It means we could set up and operate fiat sales now in Canada through our partner there. In Canada, we have a partner company in Canada who's got a money transfer license. Frankly, unfortunately, it's just not been a huge enough market that we wanted to test it until we have the European license as well, which is hopefully pretty close along the way now. We've been
the whole of Europe
for many months now. Yeah, that's one of the the Eurozone thing, EU thing does work out well sometimes, and they've got a basically you get a license in one country and then you can extend it out to countries in the Eurozone.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So get those European thing, and I'm testing it for you. I need to scroll a bit back because Diego asked quite an interesting question. I lost it. Oh no, I found it back. I'm usually getting this question from people looking to integrate block trades. If there's a way to determine the fees, not sure if this changed recently. I am not super sure what you meant by asking that question, Diego. You're still around?
Well, I think you know what he's looking for. He's looking for is there a percentage we charge per se? And it's not. That's why we don't really have such a way to do it. So there's no real one price for anything, right? If you go look at an exchange, different prices for different coins in different markets at different times. So what we do is we go out, our software goes out and it analyzes those prices. It has to look at more than that. It also has to look at the volume, because somebody could put a very small order at an unreasonable price on a low liquidity exchange, and if we honored that price, people basically could buy from us at that price and then sell to us at a larger price. It's kind of like a recyclement. So we kind of have to we have to do a lot of. There's a fairly complex calculation that goes on that looks at all these different places that are selling, how much is being offered for sale, and then yes, or somebody says arbitrage
for the win.
Yeah, in fact, we've it's one of the things we've looked at doing is enabling arbitraging to close out some loops. But while it's on our list of things to do, it's not something we're doing at the moment.
Okay, understood. So Diego, I hope this answers your question. If there is an additional question, please just say so.
Yeah, just maybe I can clarify it. So there's no one price, and our price is basically it's a function of how much somebody buys and what markets we're currently using to do pricing on. Sometimes we have to disable a market. For instance, if they disable their deposit withdrawals, then the prices that particular exchange will become out of whack with it, and we can no longer trust them. And sometimes we're a little slow to do that, and then we can lose some money if that happens. So we have to be pretty careful.
Understood. Pensive asked, I think out of own You are based in in UK, Pensive, aren't you? You're from Wales, I think. The whole of Europe block trades, or just Euro currency countries in this?
That's a good question. I mean, it's Brexit isn't decided yet, so
well, it's
we don't know how
halfway.
it's not. Down. Yeah, I suspect that they'll stay in the SEPA zone. I just can't see them not, because that's so huge. Which is basically the banking. It's the SWIFT. Well, it's the way banks can shift money quickly between Eurozone countries, and I just imagine Britain's going to stay in that. So I think it's likely that they'll also, the money transmission stuff will apply across even.
Yeah,
pound is expensive in terms of SEPA. SEPA's pretty cheap, I gotta say. I think.
Yeah, it is.
But
it is.
Certainly, I'm looking at it from the perspective of SWIFT transactions.
Which are not
ACH
cheap.
transactions in the US.
Now, coming back to the Steam, obviously, Nothing is Magic is pulling us back to Steam and the Stexit.
Yeah, I don't really see Stexit as a possibility. They've got way too much vested interest in Steam. Just the amount of their holdings.
They got a lot of vested interest, so most likely they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And what if, I don't know, Nothing is Magic? I seriously don't know. The blockchain will not just vanish, even if they are stack sitting.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's literally nothing might happen at all in terms of things. If people want to keep developing the Steam software, it's open source software.
Sorry, Ilana, I thought you called tech slut. What does this tech before this slut mean?
Not tax, not taxation,
not taxation.
And my, yeah. I'm just like, I started dozing off here because I need more coffee, because when people start talking about crypto trading and taxes and IPOs and all sorts of TLAs, three-letter acronyms, all sorts of TLAs, and I just kind of lose focus, and I'm sitting here going, I recognize some of these. Yeah, okay.
Sorry,
all right.
I can't even remember what some of the TLAs mean as full words, so I'm kind of stuck with them. I actually hate TLAs myself.
I love TLAs, but most of these, I'm sitting here going, I'm kind of happy to be in Israel and to have else doing my taxes and not being a crypto exchange. That's just I've never felt so good about that particular fact in my life. I'm really happy to not be a crypto exchange in the US. Yep.
Block trades brought back some light into your life, because you obviously you obviously don't have to. Some rules are not applying to you because you're either Israel based or you're not running an exchange. So
both,
very cool.
Both. I'm not in the US and I'm not running an exchange, and I'm actually really poor right now because I'm running. I'm a co-founder in a startup so I'm so happy. The tax authorities are never gonna care about me at all. That's awesome. That's wonderful. I don't need to learn all these TLAs.
Yeah,
that's such a relief.
Thing. You know what the funny thing is? I'm working in a bank. I'm having a full-time job being a manager in a bank. So I was quite aware of what we were talking about, but blockchains was far beyond me. I know the abbreviations, but then it's the end of my knowledge. Well, thanks a lot for bringing us back to the floor of the things we should talk about, Ilana. And no, obviously you're not tax slut, not yet at least.
Oh my God, not ever. Oh my God, not ever. Seriously, I'd rather give all my money to the tax authorities and say, okay, just give it as mine.
Give me back whatever you deem is good for me. And
whatever you don't want, just give it back to me, because I don't want to be doing it. So if the tax authorities can do the math for me, really grateful, but they don't. They don't.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just reading up on all the comments that are coming in. I'm not a fast reader, and as I said before, I cannot do two things at once. So either I talk or I read, and if I'm reading, then there is this awkward silence happening in this interactive social broadcasting.
Then how about we do something completely different today, because we really do have a lot of people talking in the chat and a lot of people wanting to ask block trades and new questions and comment on my account name and my lack of love for tech stuff. So how about you try to read up on all these replies coming in, and I'll give you a news post, like a news
Do
item.
that.
How about that? I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So we already talked about the one where a developer got access to an open source project and used it to steal Bitcoin. But we're going to discuss later because I kind of want you in the conversation, and I want nothing is magic in the conversation. So this is not a short one. However, there is a really interesting one that that has a TLA in it. So we're talking about TLAs, and it's about an estimate by researchers that think that Python, JavaScript, and R alone contribute close to like $3 billion to the GDP, which is the gross domestic product. So I was just like, I saw that, and I just have to give you the quote and then the link because I think that's pretty huge. Like 3 billion, that's a lot of money for stuff that people are doing in their free time because they want to, make something that they like better. So I think that's awesome. And that's the link. And I'm going to assume that you're still reading because people are still typing, so I'm going to manage to somehow throw in another news item, which I really, really, really personally like. I have to do an MRI whenever I find the time when I'm not working to go and make the appointment. I need to do an MRI, and MRIs really take a long, long, long time to get because, there's a limited number of machines in the country. Not that few, but still you have to wait for depending on the urgency of your situation, it can take between weeks to months of waiting for an MRI appointment. You don't have to pay for it because socialized medicine, but still really long wait. And so I found this news item really, really, really cool. Facebook AI research, like Facebook want to see beyond your face, along with the New York School of Medicine, announced an open source AI research model to basically make MRIs a lot faster. They are using an AI to look at thousands of MRIs and to learn how to basically take MRIs faster. And I think it's really cool that it would be, if it was possible to actually make MRIs up to 10 times faster than they are right now, that means that 10 times more people could have access to this really complex and expensive service and wouldn't have to wait for that long. So instead of waiting for 3 weeks, I would only have to wait for a week, 1 week, because my situation is not an urgent one. So I think that's a really, really cool open source project. I thought that it's worth mentioning as well.
Definitely it is. And I somehow got to the end of the conversation, and I think I have found some interesting questions. Let's start with the easy ones, or with the easier ones. I'm a Cryptoric asked, so who is going to develop the SMTs while Steemit Inc. is now a poor midget? And Tenza already answered that SMTs are most likely not on the plate at the moment. And this is what we have been talking about as well, just, 10 minutes ago, block trades, haven't we?
Yeah, so I don't really know what the delay will be. I'd like to think it's going to be 2 to 3 months. But, it really depends on what optimizations approach Steemit takes and how they decide. So I don't think they know yet, so I don't think there's a real answer on how much delay there's going to be in SMT yet. Yeah,
and Diego already answered then to Tenza. If so, that's going to be a huge issue for many dApps, which made blends obviously to incorporate or work with those SMTs once they are introduced into the public. Yeah, for sure, Diego. But let's see how we can maybe think about clever ways to come up with something different.
Yeah, I think we're really to wait and see right now, see exactly what Steemit plans to do as far as the optimizations, and then I just think it's too early to really make any clear plans yet. But I think there's approaches that can be done that could make the delay about 2 to 3 months if they do right things.
Yeah, well, let's see if they come really around the corner with a cost reduction that is coming up quite early now, in the near future. Then this would prove a lot of things that I have not seen from
Yeah, it could
Steam
be good
Inc.
for SMTs itself.
Totally. So if they prove that they can do such a thing in quite a short amount of time, this would give back a lot of trust that I lost, or well, not lost completely, but it will give back to me a lot of trust into this currency, because then they are able to deal with very basic things on a blockchain, on their own blockchain.
Yeah, you see something really solidly done.
Exactly, and this
It's a
would
shot
make
of confidence.
pave the way into a brighter future, because this is definitely what we need.
Yep.
This I posted. No, I copied a question. It's not my own. I think.
Don't remember who it was. That's okay. Just throw it.
No, I did. It's Yanni Brockstein again. Thanks a lot for this question. Because this is quite important as well. Are there any plans by Steemit or other UI Steam app to develop a design that makes it user-friendly and very easy for magazines, newspapers, and novelists to use Steam and to publish their articles and books? If so,
I think Rhonda Kay had a plan for something. I don't know
so
exactly
as well.
what they're doing. But the book, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I can't remember it now, but
Steam
look up Rhonda Kay, you can find
publishing
it.
something
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I wonder if we can tag her and suddenly make her appear. Is she around here?
Don't know. Almost everyone's around here.
Yeah, she is.
Just-
Rhonda K, you're being
dragged into a conversation. Yeah, so there was something on that end going on. Thanks a lot for remembering that. That's true, Charby. SteamSpeak, I don't know, however you want to call it, or however it is called, is doing some things right. And there are a lot of front ends like BC, like I don't know, that you can come to love. Even from on the mobile market, a lot of movement happened, and you can access the Steam blockchain from quite a few now, a few applications on either Android and iOS. So
yeah, there seem to be a lot of promising applications in that area. When I went to SteamFest, that was the overwhelming thing I saw, was a lot of interesting new ways to post and consume data on the blockchain, and they seemed like they had good teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Real products. It wasn't just a bunch of hot air. These are real.
Yeah, that's quite important.
I haven't had a chance to demo them all yet. I've got it on my list as soon as I can to actually go look at them all and see what they're at. Maybe we'll acquire one.
Yeah, definitely. So there were quite some cool looking new things. But on the other hand side, I totally understand what Diego has been saying earlier, that some of those things have also been trying to think about building something new up on the smart media token. So, but yeah, that's life. Plans change, and I think that if we can do one thing very good in this environment that we're around here, then it's adapting to change and doing the best out of it. So I seriously am full of hope that we show this once again. And Rhonda K has arrived because Ilana
magically summoned,
pulled her out of wherever. And yeah, the question was, I don't know if you're, oh yeah, you are in the audience, perfect. And Bucky already reformulated the question or restated the questions. And we thought about you because you came up with, I think we tried to remember, and then someone came up with Rhonda K and Steam Publish thing or Steam thing publishing, something like that. And then we came to the idea of just summoning you into this radio show. Thanks a lot. Steam House Publishing. Do you think is that still alive, or if that's still up and running, or in what state that is? Tenza. That's bad because you are on quite now. But just go. Rhonda, if you are able to come live on air, we would be happy to greet you. Hello, Rhonda. How you doing? All right, Blocked Wraith. You can talk now. Oh, hang on, technical difficulties. Yeah, that's mostly because Bucky, this was really just pulling, you know. Oh yeah, you said you want to be on air. Just tack, you're on air.
Grabbed by the hair, pulled into on air. Yeah. Oh, that might.
Well, you grabbed her and pulled her into this audience at first, and then Bucky
that's the truth. I tagged her and she magically pulled in. Yeah, that's true. But well, if due to said technical difficulties, maybe let me see. Maybe Nothing is Magic wants to talk about the interesting issue that's been the main talk, that hack that I kind of quickly mentioned before.
You're already in, Rhonda. Oh no, you are out again. Sorry.
In and out
and out, and whatever Bucky's doing there, the old in and out game.
You make it sound dirty. Why do you make it sound dirty?
I don't know.
You're doing this on purpose.
It just happened. I cannot do anything about it. I didn't think anything.
You know, that used to be my job. It used to be my job to be the one that you know, kind of makes everything not grown up when you talk about taxes and IPOs.
Nothing is Magic is totally right. You're contagious. I cannot do anything about it. You're contagious. It's your fault.
Hey, Nothing is Magic's pulled in too.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hello.
Yes, we can.
Hey.
It's a party, definitely. Tenza, you can unmute yourself as well. Just take part in the party. Hello, Tenza. How you doing? Oh, good?
I'm doing all right.
Yes, you sound all right. Everything cool. So, first things first, Rhonda, you wanted to say anything about this Steam? I need to scroll up. Steam House Publishing.
As you guys were talking about.
Yeah,
but it's not just the full node problem. I think there's a huge problem with onboarding people onto Steam that needs to be solved.
Yeah, definitely. And it is interesting. And I'm very German. That's true, Didik. And I think that Tenza might not have said the company is crap and we should burn it down and, I don't know, throw everyone out of the window. Maybe I misunderstood the thing completely.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah. And Ilana is totally right. I'm very German. Don't forget that.
Am I in here on voice?
Oh, yes, you are, Rhonda. Hello, Rhonda.
Now I officially grabbed you and dragged you. This was officially me doing it.
Well, thank you. That is just awesome. I appreciate it. I don't want to interrupt you guys. Go ahead. I just didn't know if I had micro.
Obviously, you do. You do. And
Well,
yeah, you were pulled in just because we had talked about the Steam House publish topic. And if you may have the 2 minutes to give us a brief update on about how things are running there.
With the publishing house?
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing very well with the publishing house. It is not so much to hi. I appreciate it. It's not so much to publish on the blockchain because I'm not sure the blockchain is the best place for long form fiction. However, we are going to leverage the blockchain for the audience and to get readers involved. Now, WordRow is the site that we need help with. We're working on that. We're actually right now looking for some developers to help us with that particular application. It is going to be pretty simple, like a literary magazine. We do want our own token. We have certain things, but if anybody out there would like to get involved with that, please DM me because we have some pretty interesting things to talk about. Eternarex is helping us with that. He's on board, and Jason Boo, and actually someone we met at Steamfest may actually be coming on board with us. So, that was pretty good. But so things are progressing well. We are very pleased with the way Steamhouse is going. We're needing some help with WordRow.
Okay, so you have heard it. All of the guys that are actually right now, guys and ladies in the audience and everyone that's listening to this recording later on, Rhonda K is actively searching for help. So if anyone out there wants to help, just PM her, and everything's cool.
Yeah, we need a full stack developer. I'll tell you that. We need somebody who can actually integrate this stuff. So it's not going to be that complicated a process. However, we're discussing future projects, and these are going to be projects that I think people can earn on. And this is we're looking at something along those lines. So I would love to hear from some people.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for this short update, and we're wishing you definitely well. Maybe we can have you as a regular guest in one of our future shows. This is something that Bucky and you maybe should liaise about. Because
why? Okay.
I would be delighted.
Diego just wrote that Diego's considering applying. With the current state of the Steam, he's technically thinking of applying. So to prevent that from happening, why isn't open source? You said complicated. Why not open source?
We're starting from scratch. I can't on air go into all of the details, but I will in a PM with you, TextLet, if you want me to DM you real quickly, I will tell you what's.
Yeah, perfect. Let's do that.
Okay, I get it. There are reasons to not go open source. All kinds of all companies and all solutions and all initiatives have their reasons to go open source or not go open source. Usually, it's
no, sorry, everybody. It's not it's impossible. Like, it is open source. If you are using any software on this planet today, you are part of the open source community. And I'm sorry for budging in here, but like this experience we had last week where everybody starts freaking out that some developer gave some other developer that he didn't know his software, and everyone's like, how dare you? It's this sense of entitlement that really gets me heated up, like the open source community is so fragile. Last night, I fought for 3 hours with Yarn and NPM, and I thought I was going insane. And it turns out everybody was having this problem. And the problem isn't that people are stupid and stealing stuff, or that open source, closed source. The problem is that our ecosystem is so fragile. That's what we have to fix. That's so important.
Also, Node sucks.
Nothing as magic as talking now, Jarby.
And Tensor was in between.
Yeah, but okay, Tensor, I totally get your point, and I know that Node sucks, and I actually really hate JavaScript, but the whole ecosystem of open source software and sharing isn't any different if you're talking about Go or you're talking about something else. The system is fragile, you know?
I agree with you, but yeah, I think JavaScript does have too many exploitations that make it a lot more fragile on that side too.
That's true. Krim is just reminding me somehow she didn't want to do it, but maybe let's not go down the too technical road because we're losing people. I think we are quite a technical show. I agree, but let's not get too down the technical road. We have already been there quite a lot with block trades talking about taxation in the US, but it was quite learning. I was happy for it because I learned a lot of things. Rhonda, so try to talk with Texler later on or right now in the PM. We would be happy to have you somehow supported in here, and for sure Ilana is perfect for talking about the possibilities that this might bring and the things that we need to do. Tenza, I want to go back to you because I've talked with a lot of a lot of time with block trades about all the questions the audience raised and everything, but you are basically if I follow up what we have been talking about a few months back, you are still a lot around doing educational videos about state-of-the-art technology.
Yeah, I'm still doing a lot of these tutorials.
Yeah, and about...
I just got finished doing a Golang blockchain tutorial series.
So you still do them on Steemit? You got a YouTube channel as well, I think, no?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I have about 11,000 subscribers now, which is kind of cool.
Very cool. Can you just... Is it named the same, or is it Tensor Programming?
It's Tensor Programming.
I'm just trying to find it so that I can put it in here.
If you want, I can link it in here.
Oh, yes, definitely. And you have been kind of from the first moments of Utopian around and contributing with extremely cool video tutorials about kind of different languages, but very modern languages like Dart and things like that. So
yeah.
Are you still around? Is this still happening? So is this just recent?
Yeah, well, okay, so I've been doing some recent stuff. Like I said, I just finished like a 10 video series on building a blockchain in Go. But there was like a few months there where I had to sort of take a break due to professional reasons.
Yeah, but I think that you're still one of our main educational video tutorial posters in Utopian, if not the one that is posting the most learning videos that are out there.
Well, let's see. Most weeks, I think I am almost like the only person posting in video tutorials. So
really,
maybe.
Is that the case? That's a sad thing. Bucky, what's happened to your category?
Oh, come on! Oh, come on now!
Let's face it. The token value. That's what happened to his category.
Really? There's just some mismanagement going on, Bucky, in your category.
Now.
What you meowing about?
This is not a witch hunt.
Oh no, it's not. It's not. And yes.
I have to say, whenever anybody posts a video tutorial to the video tutorials category, and they ask me, well, you know, what should my video tutorial look like? I say, well, go check out Tensor's tutorials, and if you can do that, then you're okay.
So you get a role model. That's easy. That's convenient for you. Yeah. I think that Didi has quite hit the nail. Well, I cannot say that in English. That has quite been very correct in saying that Tensor has had a fairly regular position in Top of the Utopians. Top of the Utopians is a posting that the Utopian bot is doing, or the Utopian account is doing, about the best stuff picks, best contributions that we had in 1 week. in regards to open source software or educational programs like the ones Tensor is doing. So if you ever want to learn a programming language, this is one of the things you can look at. You got not every programming language, but you have the most important one, no?
I wouldn't say most important. I deliberately have chosen specific languages that don't have a lot of documentation or tutorials on the platform. So languages like Rust, Dart, Go, Elm, Elixir, as opposed to like JavaScript and Python and stuff like that.
Yeah. Is there anything that you disregarded from a programming language's point of view, you don't like, or you don't want to get into it or whatever?
I'm a pretty opinionated person when it comes to like JavaScript.
Yeah, I heard that already. Which I find funny because I'm opinionated as well. Because I'm back out of the days when I turned it off in the web browser, and there was this hook that you can remove, like please don't execute JavaScript. So I never thought that this might be good for anything.
Yeah, no, the issue is not just that. It's the fact that it was designed in like 9 days, and then like, yeah, we'll just go with that.
Yeah, well, that's impressive. You are writing today in the audience a bit with Diego about projects. Is this anything that we can talk about right now, or is this still kind of in the shadows and needs to be there?
It's very much still in the shadows. It's something that we've just barely touched on, so I'm not really going to go into it.
Okay.
Perfect. As you can see,
so there's a big no from Diego coming. I just wanted to ask. I saw some writings go up and down, so I took the freedom to ask, and you can for sure say, no, it's not ready yet to be released, even as an idea.
I'd really love to talk about it, but yeah, that would be shooting us in the foot, I think.
Then don't. I think it's better than don't.
Is it about the decentralized Git system that I was talking about?
No.
Pretend it is. Gosh.
Yeah, pretend it is. Yes, it is. Ilana, now you made it obvious.
Where's Nothing is Magic? Come back in. Pull him back in. He knows what I'm talking about.
I didn't do anything. I didn't pull him out, so
he pulled himself out, and I think we offended him.
No, I was culling. I was culling.
Oh, you were culling. I see. Okay. Oh, I didn't get culled. But yeah.
Don't tempt me, Ilana.
He's Canadian, They are dangerous.
I know. That's as threatening as they get. But yeah, I actually really wanted to hear Nothing's Magic talk about that specific idea of decentralizing control of Git repositories, which I think is something that the news this past week with that specific hack has made this, I think, like one of those moments where, why is nobody doing this? Why is this not a thing that's happening? Why is this not the standard? So I kind of really want him to talk about that. Are you there?
We don't.
Am I here?
We don't
Am I here?
stand in your way, Ilana.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, basically the short version of the story, what happened is a few months back, a developer who's moved on from one of his old projects that got very popular. I don't know how many thousands of installs it has every week, something like 30, 40,000 or something. Someone contacted him by email and said, hey, can I have your project? I'd like to take over it for you. And he just was like, fine, take it. And this developer, whose account has since been deleted from GitHub, he did something kind of like a targeted hack. And basically, there was a lot of people who suddenly this week realized, oh my God, there's a big problem here. They tracked it down, and it turns out that if you had a very specific wallet running on your computer for cryptocurrency, that they would probably be getting siphoned off, your assets would be getting stolen or something like that. But I mean, the issue itself isn't losing value while holding. It's more about this innate trust that we somehow place in open source, and how we I'm guilty of it too. I mean, like, if something doesn't work and I'm sure it's not my fault, then it has to be someone else's fault. And if it's someone else's fault, then why didn't they fix it for me? You know? And what we were talking about the other day, Texlet and I, was there has to be a way for the community to really take a hands-on approach to libraries that are important, you know, or to find things that are getting lost, you know. The more code you wrote and was merged, the larger your stake in the repository. I guess that's a case in point. But we were more concerned about, you know, making sure that when the repository that you need gets changed, that you can look at it. And Tensor has got a super important point under his criticism, and that is, you know, the average Node.js project has something like 20,000 modules. I'm not sure how I would even have the time to review 20,000 modules. Actually, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't, you know. And I think that what that system leads to is this kind of you have to trust everybody, and of course what we've learned this week is that you can't. And so I guess that was kind of what you wanted me to talk about, right? Hello?
Sorry, my microphone was muted.
Yes, go for it. Yes. The need for decentralization, personally, I think the whole, I've been like letting it run around in my head, and I'm not a programmer, I'm not a coder, I'm surrounded by them, but I'm not. And the thought that, you know, we talk about decentralization and how witnesses work. And so when I think about that, why don't Git repositories work like that? Why don't, you know, you have a stake in a project according to how much you've contributed or how much stake was delegated to you by, you know, the project, whoever founded the project. And according to that stake, you have the power to propose merges. So if you have, say, you know, a certain stake and you propose a merge, and then there's 7 days, like on Steam, for example, I'm just throwing ideas out there, oh, hi, Gandalf, thanks for joining. 7 days to decide if this should be merged or shouldn't. And then I think, like, yeah, somebody should be doing this. Is nobody doing this? Gandalf, are you doing this? Why is there no decentralized system like that?
Yeah, exactly. Ilya's exactly right. That's, I think, the biggest problem of pure decentralization. You know, who is the authority, right? And I think, you know, even
Consensus.
going back to
That's complicated.
Yeah.
Stake-based consensus, with the stake being determined by how much code you've contributed
it's
to
a bit
that
obvious
repository.
that you are not a developer, Ilana.
Isn't it? Isn't it though?
There are already actually GitHubs well, not GitHubs, but Git repositories that you can deploy on private servers like that. And in a way, they're decentralized. Though I'm not really sure this would actually solve the problem, considering how it was implemented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's actually more of a stewardship issue, you know, less than an ownership. I mean, okay, let's say Tensor creates a library and he's on, and in a year I find it and I really like it, and what's the method for him to transfer me the rights to work on it? Do I have to prove myself to him, or, I mean, do I just send him a box of chocolates and say it would be really nice? I just think this is something that it affects all of us, and letting the developers solve the problem is not going to work, because we have this job because we're lazy. We write programs because we don't want to do stuff by hand.
Yes, definitely. This is why I write programs.
I mean, that's sort of true, but at the same time, like for instance with GitHub, the way it works currently, if you want to make a branch of a repo, you can. And then, the rest of the community decides whether or not that repository is legitimate.
That's true.
And so the problem was that not that the guy branched off the repo, but that he just literally gave the other guy his GitHub account. Decentralization wouldn't fix that problem.
Oh, that's true. But anyways, nothing is magic. Just hold that thought, because obviously you have been talking with Ilana quite a lot about it. And we should get you a spot as being a regular guest on one of the shows, talking about that issue and talking about seeing together with us as a development community how and what the maybe solution for this problem could be like. But it's complicated. It's not like something, I knew it and it's going to be fixed tomorrow. Nevertheless, Tenza, I have you around for quite a while now, and you have not had super much possibilities to talk. Now is your time, because I heard that at least Bucky said to me in the back in our special channel where we're exchanging messages that you have something you wanted to talk about. So get on.
Well, it was nothing really specific. I just had a few things I could talk about.
Yeah, well then, just name a topic and we are all there.
Well, I thought about diving into like quantum computing because you guys asked me to do that last time.
True.
But honestly, I don't think this would be the environment for it right now.
Quantum computing is something where things are getting, the quantum F-bomb, things are getting quite complicated even by the thoughts of it, at least for me, because obviously what quantum computing is about, that a bit is not a bit, but a bit is a qubit, and a qubit can be a lot of things. This is what I remember.
Well, yeah. It's based on principles of superposition and entanglement, which are a little complicated, and I don't feel like explaining them right now.
So the one explainer that we are having on the Steem blockchain also gets tired explaining things. That's cool and nice to know, because it makes you be more human. So, how would you fix the Steem blockchain then? Just throwing an easy question at you.
Okay, well, obviously fix the RAM issue. Make it so that more people can run full nodes, because that's sort of the principle of
decentralized.
Once you've done that, you've got more people who can run nodes and obviously spread the network. Then make it easier for people to actually get an account, which is currently really ridiculously hard.
Question to all the guys in here, including block trades. Has this change that we introduced with Hard Fork 20 of claiming accounts made a difference for you in the feeling that we are onboarding people? Or is this all overshadowed by the current bear market and that there is not much people anyways wanting to join? Tenza, what do you think? Or block trades? I don't know. Whomever wants to answer first.
From our perspective, I think the price of an account was already quite cheap. The price of Steem going down has only made it that much. So, I mean, frankly speaking, I think the cost, if at least you're in a first world country, of buying an account is pretty much trivial. So, I don't think that's really a big bottleneck. Now, if you're looking for free accounts, that's a different ballgame. But realistically speaking, if we gave out free accounts now, the blockchain would fill up in place.
Now, the issue I see, so like if you're on Bitcoin or on Ethereum, you can just make an account, and you can even make like throwaway accounts. I think Bitcoin has like paper accounts and stuff like that. Steem doesn't have anything like that. And you can pay for an account, which is fine. But if you're not invested in the platform yet, it's sort of a weird cost, issue.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty small issue. I mean, certainly you buy, you get a credit card or something like that. I mean, the cost isn't really significant. Let's put it that way for most people.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the visibility on potentially buying an account versus just signing up for one with Steem
I think if you go there now, it's pretty clear. They straight option. You either apply for it and you wait like a week or so, or you just buy it now. That was the last time I checked. It looked pretty clear.
Last time I checked as well. I don't know if this is about to change or if this is changing at all. For me, it's just a question. What are we going, or what is, for instance, I don't know, people with high stakes, Gandalf just wrote that it's a tool, those claiming accounts that can help onboarding, but it's not enough, and it makes cheaper for high staked SP to continuously provide cheap accounts. But are we doing then? Are you seeing this happening, that we are providing, or that these high staked accounts are providing this cheap accounts, or is this simply not happening? Because I don't know, actually, if I don't know, I know some people that have a high stake, so they could, I don't know, bring 30, 40, 50 accounts.
So let me ask the question. You're asking if the account claiming system has changed anything substantially?
Yes.
So, I mean, I know several services doing like invites. I don't know that that's going to make a huge difference, honestly, but, it's worth a try.
Yeah, sure it is. I just wanted to know experiences, because my experiences is exactly that. It didn't make a big difference up to now. At least to me.
Don't think there's no obvious impact so far. I mean, I think it lowered Steam its cost for creating accounts, giving out the free accounts. I think that was certainly probably the big driving factor for it. It's lowered our costs for accounts.
Yeah, it's exactly the thing that Transistor has been saying just now as well. And also it's an added attack vector on inflation, and Steam does not need to use its own SP.
Yeah, I don't think it was any major change. I mean, the interesting, because we've always had witnesses could always lower accounts creation. So if Steam went up in value, and it started to get expensive to buy accounts, the witnesses can literally lower the price. So that's not really ever been a big issue. What it allows now, the current mechanism is basically Steam can give away free accounts without worrying about the cost too much, and the cost can still be high enough to be a barrier to somebody who just wants to, go out and create thousands of accounts with the automatic account creation, normal account creation functions. Like we.
Yeah, sure. Totally.
Maybe my thinking on this is a little flawed, but I also believe that it's too insular. Like the fact that people who are already invested in Steam are the only ones who can create accounts that way. Like if random person just decides,
anybody can create an account. I mean, you don't.
Yeah, but there's the wait period, or you have to.
No, you can buy it. You can buy it. Anybody can buy an account for anybody else, and it's literally through Steam.
Sure, so but you have to know somebody on Steam to get somebody to buy it for you, or you have to buy it yourself. Like you don't know whether or not you really want to invest in this product yet. Why pay money for
it at the moment?
I think it's a best viral vector there is, and I'm all in favor of it. It's a shame it doesn't exist in the front end. Imagine if the front end had a function saying, invite a friend, you can invite 2 more friends. How do you think that would influence the growth of the platform?
So let's look at how it could be abused first. So that's really the issue you gotta worry about.
Block rates.
Gosh. Gosh, you guys have been you've been ruined by Steam.
Hang on, before you go about that, let me just say, okay, well, yeah, you can abuse it on Steam by making bots and stuff, but what if you just allow people to have Steam accounts and then you gate Steam itself, or you gate the actual app?
So you're still locking up. I mean, there's a namespace. It has some limited finite value. So basically every nice name could be taken.
Yeah, but it still allows individuals to transact between one another, even if they don't have a name on Steam itself. And that's the point I'm trying to make here.
Well, I mean, I think an invitation system is not bad. I think if you're really that concerned about it, the 1 week thing, well, if it was 1 week, I guess I don't know what the time frame is now anymore. It's not terrible for somebody who doesn't want to sign up.
I just know a lot of people tend to be pretty what's it called? Attention You know, like they have low.
Oh yeah, the attention deficit. They forget what's they forget
Yeah,
what's
either
going
give it
on.
to me now.
And most everybody's that way. I mean, I'm probably that way too. So I wouldn't wait a week to get an account. I mean, I'd spend the buck if I'm interested.
Yeah, I know myself. I'm not
I
patient.
understand, but you see, it's got to be some way to not give out every account to every, fake people, right? You've got to have some way to limit it. And until somebody proposes a good method, right now it's pay a buck or, wait a week.
Yeah, it's a question. I'm this I'm not patient kind as well. So either give it to me now, or I'm losing focus.
Yeah,
Maybe
I actually think we should almost push the commercial services. Buy your account. It costs a buck. You might get a little investment at that point too.
That's true, but I didn't understand what you have been talking about Tensor, about limiting or gating things. I didn't understand that completely. Can you maybe elaborate a bit?
What I meant is like you could have a Steam account that could transact Steam, and of course transactions are free and stuff, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
But you can't access Steam it until various conditions are met.
Right. So I understand what you're saying, but look at it. If you don't have any Steam, what are you transacting with?
Well, it could be
just hoping somebody's going to send you some money.
Well, it could be something like a throwaway account, maybe used for like contracts or something like that.
Again, you've got to have some. There must be some funds exchanged to make it useful. If the funds are anything over $1, why do you care?
It could be a part of another platform, something that maybe is using some kind of proxy account, something like that. It's not unheard of. I've seen platforms like this on other cryptocurrencies, stuff like that.
But we're talking about some kind of value exchange, right? Is the value exchange significantly more than $1, or about micro or something?
It could be micro, but it most likely is probably larger.
So if it's substantial, then that service should be able to pay actually making some kind of profit.
It depends. I think it really depends on the service, and I can't say much more because I have a specific service in mind. But yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you want to PM me privately, if you want to talk.
I'm sorry, but.
Very good. Nevertheless, I think thinking about how Steam or the Steam blockchain could be improved is making sense at all. Even if there is no wrongs and no rights in this conversation right now, we're just trying to think about possibilities.
Yeah, I guess my feeling is a two-pronged approach is probably be better than what we have. We could almost junk the 1 week Steam it thing because I think it is kind of most people, and maybe go to a two-pronged approach, which is you buy your account or you get some kind of, or you alter like an invite. And the invite system is going to basically do some real validation on the people on their side. So, and just kind of, limit it, keep it under control. But it's going to require validation of people. So Nomad Soul is speaking up now, and I know he's something. So yeah, maybe he should talk. So.
Yeah. So onboarding is obviously something that Nomad Soul is also heavily involved in. Thanks a lot, Nomad Soul, for telling us that you're currently working on that. Because I do think that this is one of the main problems that we are currently facing. And that Tensor is just brought back into the point of attention. What else, Tensor? Is there something else that you would change if now all development would be yours to do on the Steam blockchain?
The main issue is obviously the memory issue. If they can get RocksDB working, or if they can find a better alternative, then that would be a big deal, and then you could decide where to go from there. It's all about spreading out the community. And of course, maybe the invite issue is not an issue if you have more and more nodes and more people supporting the network.
Yeah, definitely. So I promise now live on air and record it that if they really make it to bring RocksDB or any other cost efficiency plan to life, then I'm going to directly start a full node and I will run it for a year. So no problem. I just had no intention to run a full node as long as this is such immense amount of costs that is summing up. So let's see if they can make it. I'm the first one throwing in another node.
I'll throw it in too. I mean, why not? Having a full RPC that I can ping to for whatever app I'm trying to build would be great.
Yeah, definitely. So I was thinking about this a few times already, but I really I didn't go into it because it's quite an amount of money, and but if they make it to bring costs down on this, I'm definitely in for one. Count on it. Yeah, so it's 5 minutes left to the end of the show. Thanks a lot. I'm starting with the thank you round because I would like to have one raffle going on with that huge crowd that has amassed in the audience. Bucky, are you ready to start one raffle? Most likely it's not.
You caught me in mid-tech.
In what?
Yes, we have time for a raffle. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah, we have time for a raffle.
Yeah, I think that this is something that we can easily, that we should do because it's part of the tradition in this show. We are raffling something. Normally we are,
and yeah, we have a humble Warhammer bundle.
Yeah,
games,
go for it.
So you got
more computer games. I don't have time to play.
Oh
so
yeah,
I
you
can't
should
win the raffle.
because it's making intelligent. You know, computer games are making intelligent people.
Before I do the raffle, I have to tell everybody that the raffle bot responds to your text. So once I start the raffle, and it's not started yet, your text, when you write in something, that will be caught by the bot, and the bot will then put you into the raffle. If you don't type anything in, you will not be part of the raffle. Now here is the question that you need to answer to take part in the raffle. So we know that Steam It Inc. laid off a whole bunch of people. But there were some specific positions, some personnel that Ned could not lay off. What were the skill set of those people that Ned could not lay off? That you tell me who that is, and you can take part in the raffle. Krim, you put your there you go, you got it in. Guitar tuner, yes.
Oh, who said this hairdresser? I wanted to say this as well. Ah, nothing is magic for sure.
Yeah, well, hey, Love Freedom has got devs. Yeah, well, you got that right. Yeah, you get system in. Yeah, you got that right. No, I think we found, and Natu, I think earlier today we found out we surmised that his guitars are in receivership.
Yeah, seized officially by the government.
Yeah, and I suggested earlier to Transisto that perhaps Ned could join a band and go on tour.
Yeah, maybe.
A long tour. Like
like a world tour.
I'm only kidding.
Steamboats.
I'm only kidding.
Steamboats.
I'm just kidding.
So it's the raffle bot is almost coming to an end. We are awaiting. Oh, and look out! Natu is the winner of the raffle.
Yahoo! Congratulations! Woo-hoo! I'll get back to you shortly with your prize.
It's impressive. He won again. By the way, I wanted really to thank all of you. It has been a pleasure having Tenzo online, Block Trades directly on the show, Nothing is Magic, Textlight, and buckydurddle live on air. Rhonda K, who has been pulled in here into this show directly and was able to talk on air live with us. It was a pleasure having all of you in the show, in the audience. It was one of the biggest audience we ever had. So thanks a lot for all the questions that you brought along. Thanks a lot for talking so deliberately about the future that we are all going to see one way or the other. And I hope for the best. Thanks a lot for all the guys and ladies out there. And thanks also if you're listening to the recording of this later on in the week or somewhere in time. Thank you. Thanks, Ilana. Thanks, Bucky, for hosting this show together with me. It was a pleasure having you all. And good night, have a good day, or good morning, wherever you are. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.